Welcome to the Pixel Response Podcast.
All right.
Hopefully that works.
And we're officially in it. Yep.
We're officially in it.
It's funny because last episode you were making something like, well, that'll have to do or whatever. In the actual recording, we were perfectly in sync, both of us.
Okay, good.
So it was...
Yeah, I couldn't hear yours just now audibly, but hopefully that'll be the case again. Welcome to Pixel Response 158. This is... I guess we don't say the date, so this is Nathan. I'm here in Calgary, Alberta. We're talking about mayoral candidates, but we're going to stop doing that. I'm joined by Paul.
That's me.
Who is worried about a guy named Kevin. We need to talk about Kevin. He's not going to be a good mayor, so they should arrest him. Oh, wait, they did. Can he still run now? Like, he got arrested.
I'm sure he probably can. I bet he can.
That's not like an immediate, like, oh, you actively are a criminal, so obviously you can't be mayor.
No, it's politics, bro. Everyone that gets in is a criminal.
I guess, but it's like literally like, oh, no, you have a court date. You can't be a mayor now. Like, wouldn't that besmirch that?
I would think so,
Yeah.
But
we'll find out in October, I guess. Woo! But
Yeah.
don't worry about that. Let's turn our eyes to Twitter.
Oh no!
You posted this thing.
Oh yeah.
About your favorite 6 video games, which I thought was a neat number. Oh, okay. Maybe you should pull it up.
I will.
I have mine written down. But I thought it was a neat number because it doesn't force you to stretch to 10. And you get a little wiggle room with like not top 5, and you don't have to order them in preference. But
to be clear,
feel like I sort of
this is like a copy pasta thing that's been going around. I didn't invent this. I just want to put that out there. Somebody tagged me. So
yeah, someone tagged you. I tagged some people. Just this little viral thingy going around. But I enjoyed the exercise. So I just wanted to talk through the games we chose.
Yeah, sure. I actually do remember all of these. As soon as I brought it up, I was like, yep, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm actually wearing a Super Mario World shirt right now, so I'm just going to mention that because that's number one that came to mind for me.
I was not going to look at yours, and then one day when I was just like waiting for something, I pulled up Twitter to see what was going on. It fed me yours at the very top of my list of things you've missed. So I accidentally.
So it's like it spoiled it for you. Okay. That's okay.
I did know one of them just off the top. Like I knew one of them in the top of my mind. The rest of them were not a surprise, I would say, but like I wasn't expecting.
Okay. I guess we'll get to those. I had 3 sprang to mind immediately, and then the other 3 I kind of like had a list of several in Notepad or something at work, and I was like thinking about them.
Oh, okay.
And then like filtered out what were probably the 3 of those. So this was, the read at the time. But yeah, Super Mario World is the first one I chose. Just super
classic,
influential. Like, I don't know. That was like the game that made my eyes bug out when I was a kid. And it's like, we need a Super Nintendo. Like, what is that thing? I got to have that. And then I've just been playing that periodically forever since then. I can always go back to that game. So
the person who actually tagged me in this put that as one of theirs as well. Like, sure, makes sense. Huge game.
So do you want to go one of yours then? We'll trade off, kind of.
The Resident Evil remake back in the GameCube
like
days.
The GameCube one?
Yeah. The HD versions are just that again, so like they all kind of count. Kind of redone for newer systems, but that game I loved growing up just right from the get-go, and then the fact that they remade it with like better graphics and kind of put more into how you go around that mansion in like different ways and keep it similar enough that people that loved it originally could like jump in, but like change it and it's complete, like get surprises and play with your expectations. It was just like basically the perfect game for me.
Yeah, and you obviously still revisit it because you just did.
Like a month ago.
Yeah, so it's like still got that appeal, so that's cool. Day of the Tentacle was number 2 for me. I guess technically Maniac Mansion : Day of the Tentacle.
Sure.
But that was a super early adventure game for me, but it's also one It's one where like I wish I could induce amnesia to myself so I could play it again and again more.
Okay.
Because it's like they remastered it recently and I love playing through it again. But it's like, oh, I remember like all these puzzles. Like there'll be ones where they're a little fuzzier, but then once like something clicks into place, I'll just remember everything. But it's like watching a favorite cartoon or something now. You know, it's
Sure.
like you still get to go through, see the jokes, see the fun, like the decaf coffee, the, you know, like Professor Fred and all the craziness. Like there's still things I still get out of it, even though it's like static content that is forever spoiled.
Yeah.
So that was the start of like just being way into Tim Schafer's brand of humor and that kind of like LucasArts comedy adventure kind of stuff. So it was a big deal for me.
Sure.
Did you ever play that one? Or?
I did. Yeah, I played it back when it actually came out with a buddy, and I remember we got stuck a few times. There was one part in particular that I can't even remember where, but the thing you had to do was just like so out there that we never thought of it, and I remember we didn't get through it until like later on where we were able to kind of find the answer.
One of the logic leaps is apparently like washing the buggy to make it rain, like is one that people get tripped up on, because it's like the logic being like, oh, right after you wash your car, it always seems to rain.
Uh-huh.
But that's just like a joke. That's not like a science law or anything. So
And
it's like,
as
why
a kid,
the hell would that make
we
it
would
do
know
that?
as well, because
Yeah, like that's not a cliche for you at age 6.
Yeah.
So yeah, me and my friend David in like grade school would play this game, and
oh, weird.
I think we got
David
hung up
was my
on-
friend as well, like a different one that we played this. So
Yeah, so we loved it, but I think maybe like the vinegar and the time capsule or something. Like there was a couple ones where it's just like, dude, what? Like I don't know what's going on. I don't know how fermentation works because I'm in grade 1 or 2 or whatever. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
But we still enjoyed it generally. And then years later, got it myself and beat it, and have been playing it on occasion since. So yeah.
And they did that
Important
remaster not too long ago. Actually, it's one of
it's
Aaron's
gorgeous,
favorite games too.
It's awesome. Yeah. It's like they went back to like the original like art and just scanned it in like as it looks better than it ever could have, kind of thing. It's awesome. So yeah.
Yeah.
But okay, number 2 for Paul.
Going down the horror train still, Silent Hill 2 was like probably the first introduction of, oh, you can do like an actual good psychological horror game in the.
Is it replayable? Like, is that one you can go back to still
I've gone
too?
past it or back into it. Yeah, it's because that game is a lot of atmosphere and stuff like that, and it kind of just holds that. Maybe like it definitely could do with a remaster or a remake of some sort. But
yeah, I it's weird because I remember they kind of did like HD ports or something a while ago, but they screwed it up because the fog was gone.
Yeah,
and it was like, no, that's you got to mindfully consider what was atmosphere versus what was technical limitation, and they didn't.
They
just like, oh, we cleaned all this up. And it's like, you broke
better.
the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I can see that there's actually nothing ahead of me. That's not scary.
Yeah.
That's not scary at
So
all.
yeah, if someone went back to it thoughtfully, maybe they could spruce it up again.
There is a, I can't remember their name. There is a Silent Hill like modding team that has revamped it or whatever, but kept in stuff that makes that game important and like made it look better or whatever. That game is just really good. Every time there's like a whole bunch of different set pieces in that game, and I just really like how they all kind of fit together and how it gradually gets more and more fucked up as you go. Like it starts off with you just basically running down like a dirt road and meeting somebody in a graveyard, and then it gradually gets to the point where you're literally just in this weird upside down like historical society basement hell with like skin walls and weird shit chasing you. It's
okay. Like it descends into madness over the course of the game.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Like, okay.
And like
I've never actually gotten far in it. Like that's one I still haven't really done. So that's interesting.
That
is Restless Dreams the one to do, like the Xbox version?
The one to do is probably that like PC enhanced version that fans have been putting together.
Oh,
I would assume
okay.
now. If you went back to console, probably I would assume that's the one to do. The HD version is definitely not the one to do. This collection version is not the one to do.
Okay.
We should do that
series,
because
I have
Silent Hill 1 we did, and that was fun.
We did, and I had a frustrating time with a weapon that I still feel bad about sometimes because I was very angry at this person in the video game.
Wait,
but
what?
There was a boss I had real trouble with, and I was really cursy and upset, and I always feel embarrassed after.
Okay, which one?
But
do you remember?
She must have been a lady because I was cursing gender related cursing, and I always hate doing that as like a female literature classes and stuff. You're not supposed to do that. So it's just really uncool.
God.
So
I don't actually remember.
Yeah.
That was.
I hope they don't come for my English degree. After that.
That was like what 8 years ago, maybe. That was a long time.
It was quite a while ago.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah. But Silent Hill. I tried playing Downpour recently. I'll say that.
Never played.
I got stuck. Yeah, I just kind of couldn't find my way forward past a point. It wasn't even that it was like aggressively awful. It was just like, well, I'm stuck and not having fun at all anymore. So I guess that's it.
So we're done. Yeah.
Yeah. But okay, Silent Hill. For me, sort of scary game, but just in a different way. Dark Souls. Was like a sort of recent-y thing. I guess it's 10 years ago now. But me getting way into it was probably, 6 years ago? It's been a bit.
Sure. Yeah.
But anyway.
Probably.
Yeah, I've gone through it a bunch of times. It's just something about how I still feel they've never quite captured the world design ever again in any subsequent Souls game of what I like about what Dark Souls did, of how it's all interconnected. Like, I know 2 is technically, but it kind of just keeps sprawling out.
No, 2 is way more linear and with the ability to warp to different points.
Right, but they at least like thought about, well, you can walk from point A to point X like
if you have
pretty
10
much all
hours,
the time.
Yeah.
If you want to. It's not as like ornately designed, but like past that they just don't bother anymore. Like they go back to the Demon Souls kind of warping to different places in 3, and like Bloodborne does that, and it's just like, you guys really had something cool with this one. I don't know if you know or no one told you or what, Miyazaki, but like it being all together was really one of the things that kept me in that game in a way that none of the other ones did. So I don't know. I really liked how they did it that time. Sure, it's kind of janked out compared to some of the combat mechanics or whatever of later. You can use a shield a lot. You can fat roll, all this great stuff. But I don't know. I don't care about that. So that was my favorite one of those. And I don't know. Like, it's one where I got all 1,000 on 360. I was like going for Steam achievements. I was going for PlayStation trophies, like just to play it again and again and again. So it had a powerful hold on me for quite a while. So yeah, the Dark Souls. The one place, I guess, is when you get to the wall and then you have to watch that cutscene to fly up. That's not exactly. You can.
Oh, to Anne Orlando?
Yeah, it's not all interconnected, I guess, but by and large, they kept kind of this, like, stacked on top of itself, folded into itself world design, which I thought was awesome. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's like one of the last times to. Well, no, Bloodborne, the one thing Bloodborne does very well is I like the boss designs, but Dark Souls 1 was like the last time they did bosses that I found interesting too in their design. Because
like they just kind of started throwing too many designs.
Dark Souls 2, they were all circle strafe, and they're like pretty simple. Dark Souls 3, they're literally all dude with big weapon, like, and that's so fucking boring. But yeah, like Dark Souls 1 is probably one of my favorite for just how
weird
all the
variety of
weird
things.
Bosses. Yeah.
Yeah.
Besides Bloodborne bosses are pretty fucking good.
Okay. Like I haven't written off like the subsequent series. It's just that specific design choice hasn't recurred, and I'm just waiting for it to recur. So what's this new one, like Elden Ring? Like, get it right, you guys. Like, go back to the spreadsheets and
if they do that.
Yeah. Like, just somebody has to dude, you had it. Like, you had like a magical thing. Like, I don't know if you know, but anyway.
Yeah.
Dark Souls.
2011.
Hindsight game of the year, probably that year. I didn't know about it at the time. So,
sure.
Yeah.
Was it 2011? I thought it was 2010.
I want to say 11. I have to stand by that because 10 was a really busy calendar. So
yeah.
I know most of that year pretty thoroughly. So yeah.
Yeah, it might be 2011. I'm just curious for myself. Yep, 2011.
Phew, because like, yeah, it's up against some weird stuff if it goes into 2010. But yeah.
Yeah. Okay. The next one I put is Metal Gear Solid 3. I really like the Metal Gear series / story stuff. And I really liked how they kind of showed the origin of the dude that you like fight in as Solid Snake. Or like that they keep referencing. Like they make Big Boss in that series for so long kind of. First of all, he's just a Sean Connery ripoff in the NES Famicom version. But then like they kind of build him up in this like weird way when they talk about him as like the world's greatest soldier.
Oh, the legendary soldier.
The legendary soldier, to the point where they've taken his genome and have made multiple clones of him to try to bring him back
that
essentially.
Magic.
And then like later on they just do this thing where it's like, oh, he was never dead actually the whole time, and it's like, what are you doing? But yeah, and like all the stuff with the Patriots or whatever, and like it was kind of neat that they went back to that time period to show like why he was so important in this world and kind of like why he turned even. And they do this cool thing where he is the good guy really in all of this, but he kind of goes to nefarious ways to get what he wants, but it's because he's against a government that's like doing some fucking shady shit. It's weird.
Right. Like he's no longer loyal to a country or anything. He's like developed his own principles, and this is the story where he learns that.
Where he breaks away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, from his mentor, the boss, which this was the game on your list that was closest to my list. Like it was on my notepad list of like maybe because it's my favorite Metal Gear easily.
For sure.
So by proxy, Kojima game, I guess. And there was like
close, so
no, although man, I did enjoy driving some stuff around, but wow, what a thing at the end of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, MGS3 just, it definitely had me for a while just mechanically too. I loved going through it again and again, and like the different boss battle options and stuff. Like there's a lot of neat mechanical stuff in that game too. And,
the end and just like waiting for him to die of old age if you wanted to, or if you don't want to, you get like a dope ass fucking sniper fight.
Yeah, like it's just some really great sequences and highlights in that. Just the weird like zooming in during cutscenes, even like how they keep you tabbing around and like engaged with it when it's a movie for forever, hours.
A basic like hunting system to eat food.
Yeah. I love the surgery screens and stuff, actually. Like, there was a lot of, like, complaining at the time about, like, how many menus there were. It's like, I love this.
Yeah.
Like, I'm using a fork to, like, pluck a bullet out of my leg.
Yeah.
Like, this is hilarious. This is great. So,
and also
I don't know.
Camo.
Yeah, of those.
I like the camo system and, like, trying to become basically invisible to the enemy in parts and seeing what you can do.
Get your percentages as high as you can.
Face paint.
Yeah. At Subsistence, I guess, fine-tune the camera if you want to, like, really get into other versions or something. But either way, however you're playing it. And with the HD, like, that game's fine that way. If you want to play it on a more recent release, like, it's still great. So, but I think it's just the nature of it being still, like, a story that I've seen. It's, like, harder to go back again and again and again and again after a certain point because you've seen it so many times. Okay. But there was definitely a period where I played through it, like, half dozen times or something. So
story's not that important to me, and I think
past
that game,
the point,
huh? Like kind of ever.
Speaking?
Like the story. Okay. A story will only ever matter the first time in anything.
Yeah.
Because it's like completely new. So when I talk about video games, I don't care about the story. That's like maybe fifth on my list of stuff. It's always mechanically driven. and I just like how that game plays mechanically. I like
and some great bosses that they came up with.
Dumb
like that
writing.
Team.
Yeah, like fun dumb writing. I like the dumb writing
it's some
stuff.
of my favorite like X-Men-esque writing of just like historical fiction retconning stuff.
Yes.
Like it's just like, Khrushchev and Kennedy are talking about this, but they're also talking about this like insane astronaut that like went crazy and his name is the Fury.
The Fury.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Like just like this didn't happen, but I wish it did. Like this is better than my history book.
Or like the fight with the Sorrow is literally nothing if you haven't killed anybody. It's just walking down a thing. Like, that game just has so many cool ideas that I honestly even feel like not too many things have taken some of those ideas and done much with them, even now, like that you could do. I don't know. It seems like people like to go with generic boss fights these days and not kind of do the weird A-team of bosses that all have a different ability or something. They seem to be... Even Metal Gear kind of lost its edge with that stuff. Like I thought 4 was really lame in that respect. There's like those octopus ladies or whatever. And
like,
4 was still even better than 5. 5's bosses are terrible.
Yeah, it's just like again losing sight of like one of the keystones that really worked in the design doc. That you could have iterated further, but or maybe it's just like, well, I nailed it, so I'm going to do something else now. And it's like, I guess,
Yeah. You can't
if only
go
Silent
back.
Hills got to happen, then it would have been the best of both crazy bosses in the Silent Hill world or something.
Like maybe, I don't know. The PT is one of those games or one of those things that like influence horror in a way that I don't like, where everything is first person, just like stuff jumping out at you as you walk by it now, and I fucking hate it so much.
Yeah.
So like maybe I don't know. I think if they were going to take a Kojima thing and ape it, it should be, the bosses that you fight are this weird X-Men group of different personalities and people, and each fight has a gimmick to it. And like, shit doesn't do that for some reason, even though it seems like the easiest thing to do.
Like it's almost just Mega Man. Like
totally. It totally is.
Yeah. But I don't know if you get like wasp powers from the pain and then you use it against the Fury or something,
No.
But it's one step shy of that. But yeah. But anyway, next for me, I guess this is kind of my avatar for like rhythm gaming in general, but it's also something I love revisiting is Rez.
Okay.
Because like the synesthesia stuff, kind of the whole Q Entertainment, like Luminous, all these things. Like I love all of that stuff. This was like the beacon of it for me is this game, because I can just go back and spend 90 minutes with it every couple years or whatever and just have a great time.
Sure.
And recently I played it in VR and had a great time with that again. So like, it's one of those like perennials, I guess. Like I can always visit it down the road and just be like, wow, yeah, what a crazy thing. Like just what a weird thing that happened. So it's a very simple shootery Panzer Dragoon type thing, but it's just got that kind of music and aesthetic and cyber vibe that I really like. So
sure.
Yeah, it's one that stands out for me.
Sure. The next for me was Mega Man X. There's nothing really too groundbreaking about it that I want to talk about. It's just that the Mega Man games from I like that series a lot. From the first one, each one kind of iterated and changed something. Like eventually we got the ability to slide, like from Mega Man 1 onwards. Then we got like being able to charge your Buster Shot for a more powerful shot. We got the Rush Jet and all that sort of bullshit. And then X was kind of just like the culmination of all of those quality of life things from the NES put on the SNES, and they kind of like shoehorned a story in there somehow and then retroactively changed it multiple times for in future things. But X was kind of the beginning of like, this is the culmination of all the Mega Man goodness that we've put together into one thing, and that's kind of what I appreciate about it.
What's the main Mega Man designer guy's name again? Like the lead, like the creator of Mega Man?
Are you talking about Keiji Inafune?
Yeah, okay. He also would go on to do like Dead Rising, right?
Yeah, I mean, he was a Capcom staple. Like he worked on a lot of shit.
Sorry to bring it up. It's just like on my long list was also Dead Rising 2, because like it was the like iteration on 1's design excellence, you know?
Yeah.
Like I loved 1, but 1 is so janky compared to 2 now.
Yeah.
Like when I go back to look at it, all the quality of life stuff that happened in 2 is like you can't go back. Like it's weird playing 1 where it's like, why isn't it telling me what I'm going to pick up? Like just weird little stuff that's like, oh, you really needed to fix this. And they did in 2. So if I was going to choose 1 from that series, it's 2 because it like improved it, even though it's not, you know, the first love is the best or whatever, like that thing.
Yeah.
It's like, no, they improved it. So X sounds like, well, we've got all of the improvements in 1 game. So it's not Mega Man 2 anymore. This is now.
And it like weirdly lies in
culmination.
This weird problem area where, because of that, everything they've added felt unnecessary, janky, or like maybe too much in future iterations. Where like X was
like
just
they
like
had all of the ingredients.
This was the proper amount of like things you can do and like level design to like deal with certain stuff, and like you have all the tools and without like the bulk or whatever. And later on they would like go to add on other things that, while neat, felt completely unnecessary for like the type of game you were playing and just felt like extra shit. So it lays in this weird position for me of X was like the perfect amount of everything into a Mega Man game. It didn't have too little or too much, and they just like, where do you go from that? You have to keep
perfect
making
balance
stuff
kind of thing.
And like where do you go from here? And I think they've been dealing with that problem for like maybe ever.
They've never found the sweet spot ever again. Yeah. I guess another sequel one for me is Far Cry 2. Because it's a weird one, because like a lot of people got on board with the series past 2, but I loved what 2 had in terms of like openness and like
Far Cry
how
2
is
not a Far Cry game that people know. That is a different game. Far Cry 3 is the game everyone knows.
Right,
that's
which
formula.
So I finally like struggled through that game like to the credits this past
3?
year.
Oh really?
Yeah.
You know they're on like 6, right?
I played Primal and I've a couple past where 3 was. Yeah. But I knew 3 was kind of like this weird breakout moment for that series, and it was really weird and frustrating to me because 2 was way better in every conceivable way. But you know, there's something they focused in on stuff that I just find not what is cool about the openness of Far Cry. Far Cry 1 is Crytek. It's like so open and so stupid and so sci-fi. Like the cool thing about it was you're on a big island and you can explore all over the place. Yeah. And you can like approach these camps from different positions and whatever. Like it's very freeform. In an era that wasn't a thing. Like we should maybe add. Yeah, this was like 2004 on PC kind of stuff. Like it was pretty exciting. But you're fighting like weird monsters and mutants, and it was just kind of really dumb. 2 is like Clint Hawking trying to like take elements of that formula and make it this kind of open world. Like honestly, it's just the closest to feeling like I am like a rogue mercenary, like assassin dude that I've ever felt in a video game, because it's just like you and your weapons and missions, and you're just driving around this world. And sort of like Dark Souls, like you're kind of just immersed in this world. Like they don't break up the action when you go to your map or anything. Like you can drive off a road because you're looking at your map. Like stuff like that, where it's like you're in it all the time. If you hard pause, you hard pause. Like you can't accomplish anything when it's like on the load, save, select screen or whatever. Like it's kind of always on when you're in it. And I just like I still felt like their AI and like the skirmishes and the gunfights were just really good at that stage. It's not as like full of character as the later ones. Like you don't get Voss, the crazy guy or whatever, they totally mishandle that character. They've never had Voss again though. They've been trying to like recreate him, and they've like, gone more. We need like a crazy villain. Well, they've gone more and more comic book with it. Like. Yeah, like they accidentally stumbled on something with Michael Mando, but even in that game, he's like a secondary character. Yes. Like he gets offed way before the end of the game, and like some generic ass nobody is the actual final boss, and it's like, you guys screwed up. Like, what are you doing? Like, yeah, I don't know. But anyway, 2, the thing, like just the open world of it, like the physics, the whole way it's structured, and like the dynamic element of it, I still like going back to it on occasion because it's just like not quite like anything they did subsequently.
I think I feel it's too old for me personally. Like it just has a level of jank that's the type of game that if they redid in like a new engine or something would be perfect. I think.
What like
just
like you're dying kind of unexpectedly
generally.
Okay, it still has like iron sights and all that. Like it still felt sharp to me last time I played it. Like I still like how it handles, but I'm trying to think what like there's elements of like you can just get run over by a Jeep and then it's just like great, well, okay. Like I'm done now and load save. Mm-hmm. But they kind of had this buddy system in it too where your like favorite buddy can come rescue you and keep you in the game longer and stuff like this, and then you kind of develop these weird attachments to like totally personality free NPCs. But I it sort of worked as like a storytelling thing for me. But I don't know. It's like an open world game design shooter concept that I felt never quite found the same stride again in the series. So it still stands out.
Yeah, like, the series never went back to what they did in that, really. They
got more mired in like cutscenes and
they really like the idea of story, like maybe to a fault.
Yeah, this has like a vague story about like arms dealing and there's this war-torn republic or whatever, but like it's kind of left a lot in your hands what you're doing with that, and I found it more engaging that way. Like it's just like, yeah, you're just in a crazy conflict zone. What are you going to do? Like it's kind of existentialist or something about it. It's not like trying to be heavy-handed. Like, no, it's like Deer Hunter or something. And it's like, I don't care. I don't want you foisting these cutscenes on me. Like when I was replaying, like going through 3, it was like I would die at a point and then have to sit through a first-person cutscene again. And you're just like, this is death. Like, why is this happening? Just skip this. Like I've seen this play out. So I don't know. So some of it's salt as to where the series went, but it's also, I still think 2 was great.
It's unfortunate. I think that's like the last thing Clint Hawking did that was worth note, right? Because
I don't know what happened. I think he went to Valve, and I don't know if anything came out of that.
Watch Dogs Legion, which is like the most critically panned game of the last like 5 years.
Oh wow, weird.
Because apparently it's just boring and bad. It's like, sure, it's a Watch Dogs game, so it's probably not amazing, but the fact that it's like people are saying it's just boring and stuff, it's like, Clint Hawking worked on that? Really?
Yeah, I don't know.
All
yeah,
right.
I kind of lost track of what he was. I swear he disappeared into Valve for like 5 years.
It could be.
Like, and who knows what even happened in there or like what he contributed to.
Well, Valve doesn't make games anymore, really, so who knows what he was doing. Yeah,
so who knows where any work went.
Oh my god, he's Steam customer support for a while. That's what he did.
He refunded my money on like Neon Drive.
On
so
Far Cry 2.
Thanks.
I don't need this anymore. Yeah. Just a single tear runs down Clint Hawking's face.
Yeah, there was like a Steam sale and people are like refunding Far Cry 2. It's not like 3, and he has to approve it.
Yeah, like the crying Native American. Just single tear.
No, the grenade rolls down the hill. It was cool. Oh.
The fire spreads.
The fire spreads, but only so far because they had to.
Your guns jam. Everybody's like, yeah, we know.
I know, but I kind of got into just like doing those diamond missions and like gun smuggling missions to get the real guns at a point. Like you take some pride in the good guns. Yeah.
That's actually a thing. That's the reason why I hate like Breath of the Wild, is because I don't mind there being a bad version of something that breaks if I can get a good version of it, and like I feel like my hard work was earned. The Master Sword should never break or run out of power, quote unquote. Like,
yeah,
that should
it's super janked up.
Make it harder to get, but as soon as I get it, like it's the fucking Master Sword. Like, Jesus Christ.
Whereas if you're just picking up like dead enemies' weapons, they'll jam up on you pretty quick. Like you want to be getting
because they're
real guns, and then they last for a long time. Yeah. Like a long time. Yeah. Anyway, Far Cry 2. What's on the next step?
I put Hollow Knight because I was thinking Metroidvanias are one of my favorite genres. And Hollow Knight's easily like my favorite Metroidvania probably ever. Like maybe not it's probably the best one that I've played. I like have an affinity towards other dumb things just because of story, or they do like a character that I like or something. Hollow Knight is like scratches a lot of the Dark Souls itch of just this weird, like, fucked up world where you kind of go into it not knowing what's going on, and you slowly get a story through the environmental design. And when you look more and more into like what's going on in the lore, you're just like, oh, this is actually kind of fucked up, and this enemy is actually like a weird tragic figure that you're fighting. It has a lot of the, like, you kind of have to just get used to how your weaponry works and how your different abilities work, and you have to like actually know how to move around that environment in certain ways and dodge things. So otherwise you're not going to get very far into it. And it just had a lot of the things that I really like about the Souls type design of learning basically how the game works to get good at it, and a little bit of the Metroidvania of stuff of you will get abilities that like make your journey a little bit easier, but you still have to kind of know how to get around without it. Yeah, it's just one of those. Also, I just like aesthetically how it looks quite a bit. I really like games that the story stuff is there, and like if you want to look into it, it's super like good and like put in that world, but it's not like fed to me. So I could just go buy it because I don't want.
Because then when you notice it, it's like a special moment.
I don't want there to
just like
right, and I don't want there to be cutscenes like taking me out of the moment all the time. Sometimes it's fine in games, like in a Telltale game. Those games are a cutscene, and I know that when I'm going in. I don't want to play a game and just get like super into a boss fight and then it stops because they have to speak to me about something. Like, that shit sucks. I fucking hate that.
Yeah. Okay.
And like
this is I've never played this. Like, this is still on my list of to look at kind of things. So
okay,
that's interesting. It's not too expensive. It's like $17, right?
Yeah, it's one of those games that like you could probably beat it in, I don't know, 4 to 10 hours if you just wanted to mainline it and kind of know where you're going. But if you want, it's a type of Metroidvania where you will probably want to explore the world and kind of like go around it a few times. 100%ing it took about 40 hours. So
okay.
I
hope I fall into it. Like there's been some recent Metroidvanias that I just like Axiom Verge was one that people were really excited about, and I was just like, I'm not falling into this. I don't know what it is.
The weaponry in Axiom Verge was fun. I liked how like your guns were, you're shooting.
Yeah.
And some boss fights were neat.
Yeah, but I guess I just hope it pans out for me when I take a look at it.
Yeah, but, Hollow Knight definitely is one of those games where it's like it struck the right chord for me with the combat stuff, which is super important. I want to feel good playing the actual thing, but also it had a robust and like weird enough world that I wanted to like learn more about it, and like even like look up videos when I was done to see like how people interpreted different things, or like look up lore stuff that I might have missed. Like, I got super into that game, so it's easily one of my top Metroidvanias of all time.
Okay. Well, one of the top games of all time, top 6 even.
Top 6, yeah.
Yeah. Last one for me was Work Time Fun.
This is the one that I knew would be on your list. I knew it.
Okay, great. I thought this would be the weirdest one, but this is a weirdly important game to me. Honestly, like, I had to think through what it was. I feel like this taps into my very earliest gaming experiences of any kind, was sitting with an Atari and like 200 like discs, and just going through random ass games at like age 4. Was just like what video games are, like how they got introduced to me was just like, I don't know, here's a bunch of stuff your dad already had and like figure it out. So this game is like a bunch of weird mini games like that, and they're just random ass mechanics, weird humor. Like it's a PSP game by like this Sony studio people, and they just kind of came up with weird stuff, and it tapped into that kind of just like eclectic random thing from like my earliest days. So I just always had it in my PSP past getting a PSP. Like, it was just what I always wanted to have around. So Like, there's mini games I hate, there's mini games I love, but it doesn't matter. It's just like the form factor, like the format, the structure of it is just so funny to me. And it's like my favorite mini game collection ever. So, yeah. And I've looked into like, where did the studio go? What did they do? And there's like a handful of like puzzle games and stuff they did on like PSN, but like I can't really find like who conceived this, like who was the director of this, who came up with this dumb pottery mini game in here. Like, there's no way to like chart that for me, so I don't know where these geniuses are and what they've been making. But The Last Guy is one that they did, and I can see that.
Oh, yeah.
And like Trash Panic and stuff. Like, there's a handful of like puzzly games.
Trash Panic.
Yeah.
So for TDP Plus, we did a 2009 Game of the Year list because that's what we do now, apparently. That was one of my top 10. Trash Panic's one of the best games no one ever talks about.
I played it again recently as part of this because like there was the threat that PSN was like taking down a bunch of games. Yeah. And I was like, oh, dude, I got to get these dumb puzzle games. Yeah.
That's like, why I revisited too. I want to make sure it was associated with my account, so I re-downloaded it.
Yeah. So I went through and like got some more of these Japan Studio games just to make sure that I had them. And they're fun, they're weird, they're quirky, but it's like having like 40 of them or whatever it was, like in one package, was just the thing. Like, it was my favorite element of it, was being able to just, all right, let's play the dumb wood chopping one. Yeah. Okay, I'm done with that. Let's do the one where you're sorting chicks for like 10 minutes. Let's cap pens for an hour. Like, just the insane stuff it's asking you to do. And in the framework of like, you're basically in purgatory trying to like earn money to use in this hell capsule machine. Like, it's just this like, it hates the player so much, and I think that's so funny. Yeah. Because, like, you don't do that. Why would you make a game that's, like, flipping you off the whole time? But I'm just laughing at it. It's just so funny. So, yeah, it's easily, it just kind of bubbled up as, like, no, like, I'm still playing this, like, 15 years later and laughing at it. So it has to be one of my favorites. So, yeah. Yeah. Sure. Baito Hell 2000. Like, I've bought it 3-4 times. Like, it's just on my shelves. Like, I just love having it around. So the Japanese original also, like, I was stoked to find it when we were in Japan. It was like, oh, dude, I get to have like the real one and like take that home. And it works on a PSP also, because it's like, well, also I have a Japanese PSP, but whatever. Okay. Like,
are they region free then?
PSP? I think they're region free also, though. I think a lot of portable games were from that time. Sure. But it's hard for me to say because the UMD drive in my like MGS PSP is like janked out. Like, it's like if you twist it, it pops out kind of thing. It's at that point. So I don't really use it anymore. Sure. But yeah. Ramen Timer, you know, all these great apps that are in it. It's really silly. But yeah. Sure. Number 1. Well, number 6. Top 6.
It's in the 6, yeah. I guess, like,
it's in the 6.
These aren't ordered, but in any way.
Not really, no. And that one had to, like, suss out. But, there's this bell ringing minigame that I suck at and I've never been good at, but I'm still happy it's there. It's so stupid. Like, you're all these, like, busty women with, like, bells trying to time it, and the timing is horrible. Like, to play these songs. So I'm never stoked about that one, but I love that they tried to make a minigame with a bunch of different bell songs in it. It's dumb. Ugh. Yeah. Sure. Video games. Yeah. It's got so many. And your final game?
Final game I put was Doom 2016. And that's literally because, like I said, the thing that matters to me is mechanics. That's a video game. It's just super fun to revisit. You go fast, you kill a bunch of shit, metal music is blaring at you. It's just super fucking fun. There's no
the shootinest shooter.
There's no like big revelation or like big hoity-toity pretentious bullshit reason. It's just fun.
Okay. Blam. Id. They did it. Yeah.
They brought it back.
I just bought Doom 3 this week. Actually. It was like $3.
Doom 3 is one of those games I think people just shit on. That's a good game. There's weird.
I enjoyed it at the time, like in 2004, 2005. I was like, yeah, this is a cool thing. I enjoyed playing
People were mad because it's a horror game and it's like not exactly like what Doom does.
Well, it was the monster closet critique of just like an imp is behind you, and it's like yeah, there is in fact an imp behind me now. And
but people, those same people that make that complaint and are like, oh, but I love Doom. Do they forget that sometimes you would walk in the middle of the room and every wall would open and there'd magically be 20 things killing? Like, this has always happened. What the fuck are you on about?
I feel like it was like a weird thing. It was like a hype building up to it.
Yeah.
Half-Life 2 came out around the same time, and they were kind of competing with each other somehow, like in the
Which
PC
is stupid.
shooter space. Yeah. Even though they're totally different design docs and like not at all trying to be the same thing.
Right.
And then the flashlight thing was like, oh, where's the duct tape mod?
The
like,
flashlight
why
thing
can't I use the flashlight?
I would say. Like, there's definitely something that's kind of neat about you have your flashlight out and you can see, but this is also like your prey now. Whereas like you have to be like overpowered in some way. If you can see, you shouldn't be able to shoot. If you can shoot, you shouldn't be able to see properly. But like at some point, I'm playing a video game. Like
why would my guy not just have a helmet?
If you
or
want
something
a
with a light on it?
horror section, take my gun away for a moment for some reason, and then I find it again at the end. Like, just give me a horror moment, and then we're done. Like, don't make it
not just like fundamentally I'm like limited in this weird arbitrary way.
Or don't hide like things that I need in the darkness. Like that's also maybe a thing too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, the Doom saga. Yeah.
Doom.
So there you go. Top games. That was a big bunch of time, but those are some of the favorite games of our lives. So we have to talk about them.
Yeah.
That's just how it is.
I could easily
recent
do more, but 6 seemed like a good number. So
it was a nice little number. Yeah, it was easy to jump in on that. So thanks, Twitter universe, for asking the world that. That was a good idea that you had.
Yeah.
So it's not all toxic on Twitter, right? We're all having fun talking about
the less I read Twitter, the more happy I am in life, I find.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't dig into hashtags or anything. So it's mostly just people that I'm looking at saying stuff about things I know about. So it's actually a kind of a weird little bubble.
The problem is I'm following a lot of people from years ago, and most of which I don't care about. And I'm too lazy to go through and just start unfollowing people because I don't want to go through a list of 1,000 people to like. I should just make a new Twitter account, honestly.
This is a pretty recent account, so it's a pretty lean lineup of people right now. So it's a lot of, if anything, it's a lot of like Doug jokes, and I didn't watch enough of that show to know what the hell these jokes are.
Doug
so
jokes?
It's Doug, like the Disney
cartoon
show.
Well, oh wow.
Sorry, Nickelodeon is the era people love, and then Disney fucked it up. I understand that much.
Wait,
but,
who's the hell's saying Doug jokes?
There's an account called Doug Episodes. It's kind of like that Seinfeld thing, where it just like keeps making new Doug plots for the world.
I was under the impression this is like a person. You actually are following a Doug.
No, account. I'm not following Doug Episodes, but someone I am loves this account and is like retweeting it a bunch.
Interesting.
And it's like, okay, that's fun. It's a guaranteed video out in Massachusetts. They do some funny videos. It's affiliated with Neil Cicerega and the music I love and all this stuff. It's like a little web of things out there. But anyway, Doug. I was a little old, like, I don't know. I think I was watching Disney era Doug, so I was watching Lame Doug unknowingly, and I watched that movie. So I think my Doug exposure. Is there an easy way to watch good old Nickelodeon shows up here in Canada?
I don't think so.
Like, yeah, I would go back, but it's just not readily at hand. So I don't know. It's one of the struggles. But okay, let's get into a new video game I played briefly, mostly for one specific feature of it, which I had a fun time battling with. NBA 2K21. I finally started my player character.
Isn't this the one where there's like
$200
version that you can buy?
Oh yeah, this game has a lot of hated reviews on Steam because of two main reasons. It is rotten with microtransactions and virtual currency and all of that stuff. That's like been baked into it for years.
Sure.
If you don't care about playing online or like collecting legendary cards or any of that, it doesn't matter. It won't affect
Right.
you playing the basketball on your own
Oh man,
and just having
that's
a basketball
actually
time.
worse because it's like the online stuff is what should be like. Don't worry about it.
Yeah,
Like if I want to put money into it, it should be for the single player. I enjoy this for me, not it'll make me better on the online community.
it's weird because it's like interwoven, so it's the same virtual currency upgrades your player, but you earn the virtual currency just by playing basketball games in the video game to like upgrade your shooting and all this kind of stuff. It's like an RPG kind of thing.
That's not so bad. I don't mind being able to buy something you can earn. I find that's fine.
That's the thing. Like, if you want to be LeBron James, like at the start of your career, you could pay $50 or something and upgrade your guy to be like Apex immediately. But that's not the life of most people. So it doesn't bother me to like be kind of bad at basketball for a while because you're still going to be extremely good after like one season anyway.
I'm firmly of the opinion that the game should be charging one of the two currencies, either your time or your money. So like this is actually fine with me, actually.
Yeah, it's this mode though that's like not a big deal. There's other stuff where you're getting like card packs and stuff, and that's like an infinite hole of like gambling. Like it's in there. It is in there.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Like you're like, oh, I want like, you know, the best level 99 Kobe or whatever. Like you're buying card packs and crap like that. Like that's in the video game somewhere.
Yeah.
So people are pissed about that stuff, and that gets bad reviews for that.
Sure.
I think the other reason the Steam version gets bad reviews is because it's technically like the last gen version, I think, is what's been put on there. It's not the PS5 version kind of thing. I think that's true of this year's game. Yeah. So it was kind of like, oh, this could look better than it does, but it's like, like it. The thing is, it was like on sale this week for like 84% off. So I was like, dude, whatever. It's like $12.
So
like, I don't care.
I need to ask you quickly. If I'm gonna spend $200 in NBA 2K1, what am I getting? If I get this like premium pack.
Oh, dude, like a bunch of stuff I didn't even read about. Probably a bunch of virtual currency, so you can have like super upgraded dude with like all the greatest shoes and clothes and whatever, and probably a bunch of card packs for like the build your team stuff. So like a bunch of legendary basketball players that you can have on your super team.
Okay.
Like there's other modes that I barely look at every year. I really care about the My Career mode. Like so. It's like, wow, this has like really negative reviews, but it's like, yeah, but the thing I'm playing is fine. Like it's not going to be a problem. So anyway, the real like joy of this every year is like uploading your photos into this stupid app for it to like try to make your face.
Okay.
And that really didn't go well this year. It made this horrible like paunchy faced like 70-year-old man.
Is there any way you can get a picture to show me?
I deleted it immediately because I was so horrified. It was such an insult. You know, I should have in hindsight because it was so dumb. But also it was just a struggle of like 20 times I had to upload like 14 photos of my face to this app in order to get anything remotely workable. And then even so, like my guy has like a chunk of like plastic or something jutting out of his like lower lip, and I like a shadow from my phone or something did that. So I have to have a full beard like just all the time just to hide it. It's just this dumb little side effect of the character creation. So yeah, I just finished like the main story. I'm in the NBA now, playing for the Spurs. It's fun, like whatever. 10 hours so far. Fake basketball, just because we're at this like juncture between the end of the regular season and playoffs. So I'm in kind of like a basketball fever in the real world and there's not basketball to watch right now. So I'm playing fake basketball.
Sure.
That's the justification. My other sports bridge during this time is sumo wrestling.
Yeah.
Which I will briefly talk about. It's kind of a weird lackluster tournament right now just because like the big dog Yokozuna Hakuho is not fighting this time. He's had a weird rocky year of like not being able to fight. He's probably on the verge of retirement, which kind of sucks, but everyone's hopeful he'll get at least one good last tournament in July maybe, and maybe stick around long enough for us to go to Japan in September and see him with our eyeballs. maybe that's the hope for us this year.
Hey.
Yeah, but in the meantime, the best story going on in sumo right now is this guy Terunofuji. He is doing extremely well in this tournament, and the big story with him is like he ruined his knees, has diabetes, and like fell huge off the list like over the last 4 years, like way down the rankings. And over the last year, he's like fought his way all the way back up, won several tournaments, and is like on the verge of being promoted to Yokozuna, like the ultimate rank in sumo. It's like totally awesome, rocky underdog stuff. It's really cool. Like, I've been really stoked seeing this happen. But yeah, he's this big Mongolian guy, and he's got a perfect record right now in this tournament, and it's been kind of awesome seeing like an actual determination and grit story play out in this thing. It's kind of neat. So yeah, that's the thing going on right now. But in the second division, it's kind of like I used to watch way more every tournament. Like the second division's kind of thinned out a little bit. Like Jurio, there's just not a lot of great competition down there right now because they've all been promoted up into the top. So like leaderboard style, like it's just a little thin right now in the ranks. So there's like 4 good dudes that are really good at fighting, and then a bunch of other people. So a lot of matches aren't really that competitive, but it's up. It's happening. March Basho, or May, which was canceled last year. So I guess I'm glad anything is happening compared to
How the hell are you even watching
year.
this stuff? You have like
YouTube. Yeah.
Is it live?
No, I watch it archived because it's just easier timetable wise when it's happening in Japan, because it happens between 4 and 6 p.m. every day in Japan, but then by the time it's up here, it's like 3 a.m. or something. So I just wake up and watch it over breakfast kind of thing. So I try to stay out of the spoiler zone, which is pretty easy to do because not a lot of people are talking about sumo.
In the English-speaking world, yeah. Well, I mean, you could ruin that for yourself by following specific people.
Honestly, I did. I had a fight ruined for me today, but that was my own fault. Like, that's a Twitter follow I am on, and it's like, oh, Chiyomaru didn't win? Darn it. Now I know that. But whatever. It's pretty niche thing right now, but yeah, it's been okay. Like it last tournament was way more fun. This one, we're kind of waiting for July to be like a big story tournament if Hakuho comes back. Like, it's hard to explain about him. He's just the most decorated Yokozuna ever. Like, he's won the most tournaments and everything, so he's a big deal. It's just very clearly like the twilight of his career is happening. So we're hoping some final great battles can happen. But yeah, it's still a fun sport I like, but it's not as awesome as it was a couple months ago. this time around, I have to be honest. But
Bummer.
yeah, that's okay. What sports are you watching over in Paul Town?
I don't watch anything. The only thing I care about at all is hockey, and I can't watch it because it infuriates me.
Did the Canadiens make it into the playoffs? Do you know?
No, I try to stay away from it.
Okay.
There's so many teams I don't like, and like the teams I do like fucking suck. So
I know Connor McDavid got 100 points this season. A friend of mine was freaking out about that.
Okay.
So yeah,
that's pretty cool.
He's doing good. Yeah, and that's local Alberta situation. So
yeah, Alberta
that's
boy.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the Oilers, man, are they gonna do a deep run? Are they gonna?
I mean, they're one of the teams
Stanley
I
Cup
fucking
again?
hate. So
cool color scheme though, right? Orange and blue. Pretty
orange,
cool
yes.
complementary colors.
I don't like blue.
Oh, okay.
I do like orange.
Yeah,
though.
okay.
A good orange is good.
We'll stop talking about sports. It's okay. Let's move into the OK Video weekly plug. Nightmare on Elm Street 2 is our upcoming movie. Freddy's Revenge. That's the one we talked about. Do you have any strong feelings about the Nightmare on Elm Street series, Robert Englund?
Series, yes. Two, no. I really like that first one. And Dream Warriors has like a part to do with, I think, a pizza, if I remember, that like grossed me out forever.
I think that's the fourth one. I watched that one recently. Yeah, there's a gross pizza joke that I really thought was gross.
Yep.
So yeah,
that ruined me forever. Yep. I still have, even though I own it, I still haven't seen the like reboot that they tried to do in the early 2000s there or whatever with Rorschach.
Is Rooney Mara in it? Yeah.
So I still haven't seen
Is it
that.
her?
I'm probably still not going to either.
Jackie Earle Haley? Yeah, I just remember it being bad. Like,
Yeah, I'm sure.
I mean, yeah. I remember two things about it. I remember like being really weirded out that at the beginning of that movie, they have like this kind of like really ornate, crazy, creepy font. And then it's like they didn't trust that people could read it, so they also have lame font.
Awesome.
I was like, what? Like, commit to your thing. Like, it's like, oh, you know, we're going to write Jackie Earle Haley in like crazy crisscrossy letters. And then also just Jackie Earle Haley.
But also his lawyers have decided that you can't
something.
read it.
Something. I just remember being really pissed off at the credits because it was like, commit to your bit. Like, what are you doing? And so it's no better from there. And then, yeah, like a couple of the young stars at the time did okay, I guess, but it was just not a great movie. But okay, so 2, we find a lot to appreciate actually in 2. It's a weird one because it totally deviates from a lot of stuff because it's like the first sequel, so the rules aren't really there yet. Yeah. So it was actually an interesting watch. Also, like, it's become kind of this weird like queer film for a lot of people, like LGBTQ like themes and stuff are totally there, and they totally are. Like, it's kind of like odd to look at it in that context because we also looked at a documentary about the star of the movie who would go on to kind of just not find success in Hollywood after this because he got outed basically by this movie, and there's like a weird tragic story around it. But it's an interesting movie. Like, it's this director I actually really took a shining to from earlier in our podcast. He did this movie, The Hidden, with Kyle MacLachlan. It's kind of this like alien cop movie that was a weird surprise for us. So it's pretty well directed, and it has like the school bus bit at the beginning. If you remember that was a big, cool kind of scare. Did you ever see 2?
Yeah, a long time ago.
Okay. Not fond memories or
just no memories,
or just
really.
No memories. Yeah, that's fair. That was where it fell for me. Like the first time I watched it, I was like, that was a movie, I guess. Like, whatever, 6 out of 10. Sure. But like looking at it with like after the bad pizza experience in 4 and like where the series goes, and then going back, it's like, oh, they really tried some ambitious stuff in 2. Like, I appreciate 2 more in hindsight. Sure. And then 3 is where it got silly. Like they decide to get really silly with it, and Freddy's just dropping one-liners and doing dumb stuff. So getting back to a sort of grounded horror film in 2 was a nice little thing. So that's the one we're going to talk about in this week's episode of OK Video, which will be going up once I edit it and actually do that work
one day,
which I have to do tonight. Yeah. So it's gonna happen. But that's what's next on deck for us.
Have you been playing that Mass Effect reboot or whatever?
I installed it, but then I fell into my basketball hole, so no.
Oh, no. Okay.
Have you checked it out or?
No, apparently it sucks on PC, so fuck that game, I guess.
Oh no.
Fuck BioWare.
Wait, like it's poorly optimized or what?
No,
because I already have it.
It has no like actual. Apparently, it has only controller support or something. It doesn't have FOV options or even just graphic settings options. Like
no graphic settings.
Apparently, it's just the fucking console version just put on PC. So fuck them, I guess.
Uh-oh. I'm all about controller support, so that's no problem for me. But I haven't looked at it yet. Yeah, I haven't launched it. So
I wanted to know if that was true or not. There's a bunch of mad people leaving reviews about it on the PC version, so I wanted to know.
Yeah, I blind faith bought it, which I guess is foolish because I did that with Anthem.
I did that with Anthem too. I did play a lot of Anthem.
I couldn't. It literally crashed after the tutorial every time, and then it was like, third time doing that, I'm done.
Yeah, that
like
sucks.
I can't trust you guys to not waste 40 minutes again. So I'm just not going to.
Yeah.
But yeah, I kind of actually had a question about BioWare's future that I was going to do later, but this is a perfect bridge for it. Okay. Like, I don't know. I'm always worried about them and where they're going to be because this was supposed to be an easy slam dunk, right? Like, we took 3 of our best games from the past decade,
put them together,
spruced them up for you, put them in one thing.
Yep.
Easy $80 that everyone can feel good about and smile fondly and go, oh yeah, Mass Effect, and just have a great time.
Yeah.
And apparently there's already some bad situations developing. Do you think they're gonna survive?
I kind of hope they don't. That's just kind of how the market should work, right? They suck now. Fucking buy.
Well, I wanted to ask more specifically about like their Dragon Age ambitions, because that's a series I've never like figured out.
Oh, I love
personally.
Dragon Age, but they haven't shown anything about 4, so like I don't trust them.
Like, do you think Dragon Age can have a mainstream breakout? Was really my question. Like, can they get a Witcher 3 or a Oblivion out of the Dragon Age series?
Not. Like, if Inquisition didn't do it, I don't know. I guess you'd make a completely different game and call it Dragon Age to do that. The like weird,
like,
old,
just strip it down
old,
or
like,
something.
RPG that you pause and like have to use tactics with. I don't know will ever be a mainstream success, probably, right?
Just, it seems to be one of their core pillars. Like, it's like Mass Effect, Dragon Age, I guess Old Republic is a thing that continues to exist.
Yeah, that's true.
And then whatever they're trying, like their Anthem and like just trying to figure something out, Division or whatever, is struggling somewhere, working on stuff. But I just don't know. Like, I don't know if they just need a totally new IP or they just need to really zero in on Star Wars or something nice and stable and safe that they can do something with. But I'm always worried about their future, because they're kind of like the local development heroes here in the province that like have game of the years to their credit and stuff like this. But they've been on the brink of disaster for a while.
Are they just kind of old news now, just in general? Like, when Mass Effect 3 happened, they caught a lot of controversy because they didn't end it the way a lot of people wanted, but it was still a success. Ever since then,
it still sold a lot, was still like well made.
Since then, it's just like a sliding scale downwards, right?
Like, it was hard for me to read what the reaction was to Inquisition. Like, I know it was a rocky development. Like, in Jason Crier's book, Blood, Sweat, Pixels, there's a whole story about how, like, Frostbite was basically forced on them to, like, you have to use this engine, and, like, there was huge struggles trying to make that work, and, like, they were basically just glad they were able to ship, you know? So, and then I know it won some Game of the Year awards and stuff, but I also perceive 2014 as, like, a really soft year for, like, good games, so I didn't really read much into that as to, like, was it an awesome game, or was it just kind of by default one of the most ambitious games that year, because it was like a launch year for consoles and stuff, basically, like just previous.
I don't know, there was some big stuff that year.
Was there?
Yeah,
because
Alien Isolation, like I'm saying, Middle Earth, Destiny.
Yeah, those are bad games. So, you know, okay,
Titanfall.
That's fine.
The new Wolfenstein.
Yeah, bad games. Bad games. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No. Middle Earth, I hate. I never got it. I thought it was bad. Alien Isolation I want to love more than I do, and Destiny 1 isn't Destiny 2. I don't know. Like, is that an argument?
No. I mean, it is.
Well, it wasn't very good. Yeah. So, yeah.
I mean, you're wrong about this, so it's fine.
No, Taken King was the game that finally made that game playable.
Taken King was like a DLC for it, but yeah, that's when.
Like a year later. Yeah. No, I just remember like Destiny coming out, getting like 3s out of 5s, but still being on top 10 lists because it's by default one of the most ambitious games that year. Like, that was my bubble, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it depends how.
Peter Dinklage.
A lot of these I don't care about, like Broken Age, don't give a shit about. Shovel Knight was big. Disney Affinity was supposed to be big, but nobody cared about it. Watch Dogs had a whole other problem going with that.
That's what I'm saying. It's not a good year. Like, it can be a not great year. That's allowed. Like, it's.
I mean, for you, you're wrong on some of this stuff. Titanfall was great. Wolfenstein was great. Evil Within was
Titanfall
bad.
1 was nothing. No one gave a shit.
Yeah, it was.
No one gave a fuck.
You didn't
give
a fuck. 1. That's.
No, they didn't care. And I'll double down.
Yeah.
Titanfall 2 isn't good either.
Titanfall 2 is good.
I tried enjoying it. It's actually not good.
Yeah, but you have bad opinions, so like it doesn't matter.
No, it's a great opinion because here's the real reason.
Yeah.
They have the time swap mechanic, and then they take it away, and then the game should just end. Because why would I keep playing?
Well, they try a bunch of different stuff in it. Each
All right.
part has a different gimmick, and some of them are better than others. But
it's like they use their best gimmick earlier in the timeline of the story. Like it's just poorly paced. That's what I'm gonna say.
Okay.
Like you get to a point where you just use your coolest trick, and then it's like, all right, and now we have 2 more hours of like tower defense, and it's like, oh yeah,
tower defense.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
I just stopped playing. Yeah, because it's bad. I don't know. Anyway,
yeah, I don't remember.
I don't know. I felt weirdly like foisted on that game. Like it was like, dude, this is amazing. Titanfall 2, you gotta get hyped. This is my hype issue. Like whenever I get hyped, I probably won't enjoy it. So if no one talked about it, maybe I would have accidentally bought it for $10 and had a good time. Me and BT would have had a great adventure, but I did not have that experience. So yeah, that's this week's just uninstall a game, I guess. Titanfall 2.
It must suck living your life to what everybody else says. Must be pretty bad.
Well, I stopped doing it, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, that's why I was uninstalling stuff.
Sure.
So, but that game had this weird thing where it was, like, this underdog for a lot of people because it got crushed by, like, Battlefield 1 the year it came out.
I mean, Battlefield 1 was also good. It was just
like,
a Battlefield
I know,
game.
but, like, EA kind of, like, bulldozed their own other game by releasing it like right around the same time. So it was kind of like, oh, the cool kids are really talking up Titanfall 2 because it got unfairly treated. And then if you like go back and play it, it's like, yeah, it's fine. Like it's an okay shooter. Like it got kind of like reverse praise in a way where it was like over celebrated. That's my assertion.
Sure. You're wrong, but that's fine.
Yeah.
It's okay to be wrong.
No, but I need you to try to justify saying I'm wrong because, like, I'm as right as anybody. Sure. Like, Titanfall 2 kind of blows, and that's as valid as anything. So,
okay.
Did you enjoy it a lot?
It was okay.
See, like, why are you even fighting? It's not that great. That's fine. What I'm saying. Okay.
I don't know. I guess I don't have a strong... Like, the fact that, like, people still talk about it is weird to me. When it came out, it was fine. I played through that story. I kind of forgot about it. Other people didn't.
I feel like you're literally like accidentally saying I'm right, but you're so mad about it. It's like,
no.
Oh yeah, that mediocre game from a few years ago. No, dude, it was actually great.
I never said it's great. It's fine.
Okay. I just need validation right now. Like I want everybody to just kind of forget about Titanfall. That's what I need.
I feel like more people have than you're giving credit to. Like, have people
maybe
talked
Reddit's
about
in
it?
A weird bubble. Well, since Apex, there's been a lot of like wanting 3. You know, because it's related.
I mean, I would like a 3 rather than Apex because I don't want to play a multiplayer game. I'd rather a story-based shooter. I don't want to play Apex.
I guess so.
But like
robots.
Apex is making them money, so that's probably what they're going to do forever, right? That's how that works.
Yeah, that's how it works. Sorry, I'm getting salty about these games, but yeah.
Like I'm looking at the list
pressure
here. I don't think. Yeah, I think ever since Mass Effect 3, they've kind of been on a steady downward fall because the next big thing they did was Inquisition, and like it wasn't ground shaking or anything. It wasn't as big as Mass Effect 3, just straight up. It wasn't, even if people liked it or whatever. Then Andromeda, people started to like be like, maybe BioWare magic is gone.
Yeah.
Like maybe it's gone. Then Anthem came out, which was supposed to kind of be the big thing, and that was the worst. That was really bad. And then like now the Legendary Edition is just like, well, we fucked up with Anthem, so maybe we could just make millions by doing this thing, and like there's still people complaining.
A nice safe bet, yeah. What was design wise? I know Dragon Age 2 is like the black sheep because it like tried to make it a bloody action game, right?
That
like,
and they reused a lot of the same stuff over and over, like very repetitive.
Like the cities just got remixed kind of thing.
Yeah, you would kind of go into like a dungeon essentially, and like they all looked very much the same.
Okay.
It's kind of cheap.
And then, yeah. So did Inquisition design-wise, was it fundamentally like Origins, or what was it trying to do?
Yeah, it was more like a like an updated Origins, almost like a new one sort of thing, but like a little more streamlined. Origins had a lot of like weird old RPG shit going on in it that like is the reason why a lot of people, including myself, even though that was one of my favorite games, can't go back to it right now. Because it's just...
Oh, it's too old school?
It's super
like
antiquated.
It's too nostalgia?
It just feels kind of bad playing a lot of that stuff.
Okay.
So Dragon Age was kind of like a good follow-up, that it felt newer or whatever, but it was still kind of that, and like that... Just straight up, that's never going to do as good as a third-person shooter. Like...
Yeah.
Action, right?
So yeah, I don't know what the path forward for them... Like, what would be your dream BioWare project...
I mean,
this point?
It probably would have been Mass Effect Legendary Edition with a bunch of like PC optimizations. So
hopefully they can do it, still patch it in. But yeah, I haven't launched it, so that's upsetting, I guess. But hopefully,
like, I'm really big into Dragon Age. They haven't shown Dragon Age 4 anything, and I don't believe they can do it. So if like you're not winning me over, I don't know who you're looking to now.
Yeah. Anyway. Well, there you go. BioWare.
Were they even really that big? Like, Mass Effect was the thing. Other than that...
Yeah, Mass Effect
KOTOR
2
was big, too.
And KOTOR was kind of their breakout, like, million seller... Like, I mean, going further back, Baldur's Gate or something, right?
Baldur's Gate for, like...
niche-y, like they gradually graduated into this like upper tier
PC bros, like that were really into RPGs. Yes, for sure.
KOTOR was when it crossed over to me, like my field of awareness of like, okay, I'm gonna get this game, and people. I enjoy it a lot. Yeah. And then Mass Effect was them kind of, we don't need a license, we're gonna make our own cool sci-fi thing.
Yep.
And it's janky, but like I enjoyed that first one.
Yep. Me too.
And then 2, I felt was like the peak of like critics loved it and it sold okay, like a couple million or something.
2 is one of my favorite games, like still.
Yeah, but it's weird being in like the bubble of like the time, because it was like, oh, video game critics are talking about this and it's getting Game of the Year awards.
Yeah.
But I don't know if like millions of people are buying it, because EA really kind of started pushing them to sell 3 in a weird way that wouldn't make sense. Like it was like, we're advertising this on like main sports stuff and like trying to get people to buy 3, and it's like, it's the third game, like how are people going to jump in here? What are you talking about?
Right.
Like it was like they needed it to sell X number of millions, and it had like the multiplayer mode and like the loot boxes and stuff to try to like get numbers in on Mass Effect 3. And it was just like, this is weird. Like,
yeah,
it's the conclusion of like a sci-fi trilogy. Like, this is the nerdiest thing to try to like make into Call of Duty or something. Like, this is not going to work.
And I do remember a lot of like 7-Eleven campaigns and like where buy a hot dog, get like a download code for like one of the skins.
And it's like, that's cool that like one of our games made it to this level, I guess. But it's such a weird pivot to like, what? Like, this is not going to happen. So I don't know.
And then, oh my God, do you remember how hard they went into the Old Republic though? Like they pushed that so hard. Holy shit.
It was like, we got to be bigger than WoW, and it's going to be the thing. And I dabbled with it, but I just don't get MMOs enough to like want to be in there.
I found it boring myself.
Yeah.
Oh. Weird, man.
Sorry, I just feel we're on a negative game train right now with all the griping. Let's go look at some old treasure from back in the magazine days.
Okay.
Try to get on a different vibe here.
But aren't these things that we haven't played? So
these are things that we haven't played. Well, except one I've definitely played and vaguely remember in a positive manner. So we'll talk about that. And one of them actually, like the one I'm going to start with was, this is readily available. You can get this on your PS4, maybe even PS5. It got ported over. It's called Primal. Do you remember this game?
God.
Primal?
Yes. I never did play it though.
I think I played the PlayStation Magazine demo. But yeah, you're like you play as this. I guess you're the girlfriend of a rock star who got abducted by demons.
Oh, is that who
And
she is? Okay.
Yeah, you team up with like a little imp, like a gargoyle creature, and you're on this like weird adventure.
Yeah.
In like this hellscape demon world or something. It actually looks kind of neat. It got a 7.9 on GameSpot. That's Greg Kasavin reviewed it. Apparently the combat sucks, but the like it's really big, nice open environments, and like most of the game is you and this little kind of creature solving puzzles and adventuring, and that stuff's pretty fun. So I don't know. But yeah, I was searching for War of the Monsters like last week. One of the games I brought up, and that was readily available on PSN. It's $5 at the time. It was on sale.
Oh.
And this game is also available quite readily, but there's not a lot of PS2 games on PSN. Like PlayStation Now has like 20 or something, and I think you can buy them a la carte. I think
Sony's really bad. I hate how Sony does shit. They don't do backwards compatibility right, and they don't even give me the ability to buy old games properly.
It was really hard to like search them too, because I was like, listen, I know they're PS2 games. I don't care. That's like my nostalgia zone. I want to search for that. And it was like, no, these are like PSN like games. And it's like, they're not. Like, I'm digging through like hundreds of games to try to find this thing. It was honestly easier to find them in the PlayStation Now menu, like just not without subscribing, just to like see what's even on the service. Because it would at least like let you sort by like category that way.
I see. Okay.
So it's like, Ape Escape 2 is on here. Cool. Like stuff like that.
It's annoying too, because in the PS3 days, you could just buy PS2 classics and PS1 classics. And it's like, you should just like, I'll give you $5 to $10 for like one of these old games to have.
Or why isn't there a heading that's just like PS2 classics or something?
Yeah.
And I can just choose that and then see them all and then go, Downhill Domination isn't on here. Okay, great. I can just move on instead of shopping for like half an hour. Like, I was basically going through PS2 games and like going to, if I like this PS2 game, what else is recommended? And there'd be like other games there that it wasn't surfacing. And then I was trying to like snake my way through to finding all these games. Like Dark Cloud 2 and stuff is on there. But anyway.
It's so annoying because like Jim Ryan has even just said, like, why would you want to play old game? Like, Sony just doesn't give a fuck about old games. If it's not the new thing you can buy for $80 or whatever, fuck it.
Yeah, it's like, it's money I'll hand you, like, because you never made a game like this again, I guess.
Fucking hate Jim Ryan and Sony. I want a PS5.
Who's Jim Ryan?
He's the dude that runs it.
He's the face of the Sony stuff now?
He's the CEO or whatever.
Okay. Huh. But anyway, Primal, readily available. Less readily available is Crimson Tears, which I'm not going to spend too much time on because I don't think there's any reason to go back to this game.
Oh, is this one you played?
No, this one is this is like a hack and slash RPG from like 2005. But yeah, it sounds like the thing that's neat about this game is the combat. Like Primal has bad combat, this has fun combat, but the story is just stupid.
Sure.
Yeah, Justin Calvert gave it a 6.8 back in the day. I think the novelty of it was just your character building. Like, it's really challenging combat, but you can like upgrade your powers and whatever. You're fighting robots. I don't know. Crimson. Yeah. There was a lot of mindless hack and slash games in this era.
Yeah.
And this sounds like a potential, like, if podcasts existed in 2005, this would be a great podcast game. In 2005.
So grindy in a weird way.
Really grindy. Yeah, just colorful, like anime looking characters slicing up stuff, getting upgrades and whatnot.
Sure.
To make the combat more cutty and slicey.
Neat.
But yeah, nothing too exciting. Now we're getting into this little stealth wave that I just want to briefly think about, because like it's this notion that Splinter Cell was such a big hit that people would copycat it.
Yeah.
Happened for like a couple years. So first up is Rogue Ops. Do you remember?
Is this the one with the swearing?
Yeah, I think so. And like it's like a busty blonde woman cursing.
Oh. Is
the Rogue Ops hook, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I'm thinking of something different, but sure.
Okay. Yeah. By all accounts, mediocre even then, 6.7 from Brad Shoemaker. But, you know, you got your Splinter Cell type gadgetry, you're breaking necks and sneaking around. This is the era Blizzard almost made a stealth game and then didn't.
Right.
With Ghosts.
Yeah.
They just kind of backed out of it because it's like, there's too many people in here.
Early 2000s era.
Yeah. So yeah, Rogue Ops by all accounts just sounds like one of a half dozen. The one from this era I am curious about is Swery's like early game Spy Fiction. I have that.
Okay.
Like, I'm probably willing to take a look at that at some point just for pure curiosity and like see what FK is doing in that game. But this game,
sure,
less so. One that I just was baffled by its timing and several elements of it. There was a Mission Impossible game called Operation Surma.
Oh,
that came out like between the movies. Like, it came out after Mission Impossible 2, but before Mission Impossible 3. It doesn't have Tom Cruise in it, but it is licensed from the movies, and Ving Rhames is in it.
Oh, I actually remember seeing this game. Yeah, okay. I always got this mixed up with Splinter Cell because the cover looks extremely similar.
This looks very Splinter Cell. It got a 7.3 also from Brad Shoemaker, so better than Rogue Ops.
Okay.
And yeah, it's just like, what? Like, they got the movie property, but they couldn't afford Tom Cruise. And they just have this generic looking Ethan Hunt dude in the game, but you're allegedly still talking to like other characters from the movie. So I'm still like vaguely curious as to how this turned out, because I have like weird affinity for the Mission Impossible game on N64.
That game's
which
great.
It's trying to be that movie, which I at least like that movie a lot, but it came out years later.
Yeah.
Like, it was a real baffling thing. I put a lot of time into that game. Specifically like the kind of embassy mission or whatever.
I think that's the only one I know. Or bank.
Yeah,
bank
past a point. That's like the most elaborate mission, I feel.
Okay.
Like, it's really trying to be that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that game is janked up in a kind of like early Hitman sort of ambitions, but it is an N64 game, so yeah.
Sure.
I can't imagine it's actually very good. But anyway. And then finally on the list is one that, like, I actually remember having pretty cool combat and like a good look and everything. Sammy Studios made a first-person shooter about vampire cowboys called Dark Watch. Do you remember this?
The name sounds familiar.
Yeah, it was.
I remember this
like
character, but I've never seen gameplay or anything. It's first
Jericho
person?
Cross. Yeah, it's a first-person action game.
Okay.
I played it on Xbox back in the day at a friend's house, and it's like pretty good as I recall. Like, I don't know if you compare it to like kind of that Gunslinger game, or what was that series of games?
Call of Juarez.
Call of Juarez, yeah, like the Gunslinger one. Is how I remember it now vaguely. Like, sure. But yeah, you have vampire powers. You're this cowboy who like gets cursed or whatever, and yeah, it got a 7.9 back in the day, Bob Klyko. The main beef with it was the multiplayer modes aren't really fleshed out, but like that mattered then. I don't think that matters now. If it's still like a fun little weird shooter campaign from back then, that's still like of some interest to me.
Sure.
So I don't know. It's like, oh yeah, that game that this weird like tried to make a splash 16 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one. So anyway.
Okay.
Those are the treasures. It sounds like maybe 2 of those are treasures and 3 of them aren't, but I'm looking for weird things I didn't know about.
I mean, Crimson Tears sounds like it could be fun if you wanted to waste some time.
Yeah, if you just want to cut up stuff.
Yeah.
Like it does that. It's just, do you care about the story? No, I never would have though. So whatever.
Yeah.
Like, that's fine. Yeah, and then bad stealth is always bad. Like, the death of any of those is the missions where it's like, oh, you got spotted, game over. Like, yeah. And I think both of these have that, where it's like, oh, you can't fight your way out, you're just done now, which is
bad.
No.
Yeah.
You shouldn't do that. Did you ever get into Splinter Cell? Or, speaking of Clint Hawking, I guess?
I never did, but it's also because I didn't have an Xbox. That was kind of the Xbox game for a while before it started going on other stuff. Yeah,
I played that first one on GameCube once it got ported over, and beat it anyway and had an okay time.
Sure.
But past a point, I just kind of, that was my one of those that I played.
I did play
like Chaos Theory was the one
or something. It was much later. It was like
okay,
maybe even just like 5 years ago, like kind of recent. It was fine.
Yeah, that's after Conviction, which was sort of the gritty reboot. But yeah,
I'll find which one it is.
Get your Michael Ironside on.
Yeah.
But
Blacklist is the one I played. I think it's actually.
Did that have a new protagonist and stuff? Yeah, I think they tried to revamp it a little bit.
2013 when it came out.
Okay.
So I guess not really.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, it's a while ago.
Didn't they do stuff with that character and stuff though? Like he appears in like the Ghost Recon games and stuff. Like,
yeah, he's in Siege as an operator.
Yeah.
Like he's in.
Okay.
He's kind of in everything. Like they're kind of
like he's just a Tom Clancy
the Ubisoft
mascot
thing.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. But anyway, yeah. So there you go. If anybody played any of those games and wants to send us takes, that's always the hope with this segment, is that someone remembers Darkwatch a lot, or like they aced every mission on Rogue Ops. You know, they're still building their character in Crimson Tears. I want to hear these.
I think I would revisit, or I would visit Darkwatch. I'm just like looking at screenshots.
It looks kind of neat.
It does. Yeah.
I remember it being kind of cool. So maybe it has additional novelty now because nothing went down that path again.
There's probably not an easy, great. I mean, besides emulator, like illegally obtaining somehow, there's probably not like a great way to play it.
Yeah.
Right now.
I know. Like that was my hope with like searching the PSN store with some of this stuff. Like there was a PS2 version of this and it's supposed to be fine.
Okay.
But I think. But anyway, with a handful of these. But it's just, licensed games from like Atari or something back then. Like that's not going to come out again. That's just gone. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. But anyway, video games. I do like video games. I get mad about them sometimes, but I generally like them. I feel like
Is it because you care too much?
Yeah, I cared too much about BT. I just, wanted to.
You wanted to see him come back.
Yeah. No, I don't know. Like, I just when I feel like I'm put in a position where like the universe has declared something about a game, I like can't deal with that. I just get too in my head about like, I guess I like this mechanic a bit. Like DMC, when we were talking about that, like it was like, I guess that Fox News boss was okay. But like, I'm coming out of hearing like tons of podcasts about like, there is the best level design I've ever seen in a video game in this video game. And you're like, oh, okay. Yeah, you should play Dark Souls or something. Like, I don't know. Like, I just get defensive about it because it's like, nah, that was fine.
Is it just because you listen to too many other opinions about stuff? Like, I don't listen to video game podcasts, period.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't actually know what people are saying about games.
Yeah. I guess so. Like, I just get, like, things built up, and then when it comes to pass, it's like, I really wish I just never heard about this and I could just
enjoy
smile or frown on my own terms.
Yeah, that's kind of where I ended up too. What's really annoying right now, like I'll bring this in a little bit, is people just talking about Resident Evil 8. It's like, I don't want your opinion. It's like, I didn't ask for it. I'm trying to like listen to. I do listen to podcasts, but they're usually about just like random shit.
Or are people crabbing about it or something?
No, but I don't want to hear them like it either. Like, I don't care. This is not why I come to your thing. Like, shut the fuck up and be funny, clown. Like, I listen to comedy podcasts or something. Like, I'm not coming to you for your game opinion. Least of all, a game series that like is near and deeply entrenched into. So like, I really don't want to hear any of this shit at all, but for some reason that stuff has just been coming up like crazy. Well, not for some reason, it's a huge series,
right, and it's a big recent release or whatever, but yeah,
and it's for the same reason, I think, where it's just like, good or bad, like I just want to have this thing in my mind and like what I think about it, and I don't want like other people polluting that, essentially.
Yeah, no, it's yeah, it's something I'm still working on. Sorry, I had a bunch of built-up salt from my Titanfall experience a while ago. I've just been like, all right, this was a game.
Like, I just don't think Titanfall 2 is bad. But I also
I don't think it deserves like ire, but I don't think it was like the hidden gold like gem from whatever. It's just it was a video game that was okay.
It was a video game.
Like
yeah, like
it sort of made more sense. Battlefield 1 did better because it had bigger, crazier multiplayer. Like I don't know. I'm not gonna be mad at that game.
I played Battlefield 1 more than I have 2. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Mainly because multiplayer. But you know, I don't even know if that game has a single player, to be honest.
Battlefield 1?
1, yeah.
Or it did. I played a bit of it. It was sort of neat.
Okay.
Like it jumps from different characters and there was some big set piece Zeppelin crashes and whatever, but
okay.
I don't know. A lot of that was just like, oh, it's on PlayStation Plus now. Like Battlefield 5 just got added and I was like, oh, I guess I could look at this now for free.
That's also kind of how I've been playing them too. I've been re-listening actually to Idle Thumbs from the beginning very recently.
There you go. Big Far Cry 2 fans. Yeah.
I mean, not yet. I guess I don't know what they're talking about right now. They don't have like a thing really. They've just been talking about BlizzCon from like 2008. So they're just like talking right now about like what the next Diablo is going to be like. And it's just like, oh, you poor children.
I do love going back to old stuff because you're like, oh, weird, they didn't know that was what was going to happen yet. Like there's a certain like foreknowledge that you have of just like, oh, they hadn't announced that yet, crazy. Like they're just finding out about the 3DS coming into being like now. They don't even know.
Right.
Like,
it's so weird going back and like just hearing old talks about games that like you haven't thought about in 10 years.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of my like angle with the old magazine stuff too, because that's like pre-podcast games. I don't even know anyone that was podcasting about 2004 games, you know? Like
maybe GameSpot, maybe.
Yeah, like 5 minutes on a hotspot about, our Primal review is up or something, but like not the same format. Yeah. So I don't know. I might even go back. Like there's a handful where I have War of the Monsters now. I can play it. But with like one or two of these, it's like they're just archaeological interests to me at this point, you know. Once this basketball Mass Effect wave is over, get back to the PS2, you know.
Man, like I need to maybe see like somebody. I wonder if somebody's like streaming Mass Effect or something, the PC version. And I could ask them to like open the option menu. I kind of want to see for myself.
I mean, whatever. I can launch it today and look at it, but like field of view, I felt was always static on those anyway. But I don't know for third person. Like I'm not sure. I'll see what isn't available. The film grain probably you can turn off. That was always an option. But
anyway. I hate film grain in games. Oh my god, actually I think we've talked about this, just not in depth. Do you remember Miyazaki? Was it Miyazaki? No, I can't remember his name now. When Evil Within came out, he decided it should be at 23 frames per second in 720 widescreened with film grain, and you couldn't turn any of that off, so it looked like shit.
Well, I think I brought that up last week as like a game where I felt it was just too zoomed in and looked crazy, and I couldn't deal with it.
That was by
because you were talking about feeling nauseous. Yeah.
That was by his. But it was like he wanted that.
Oh, this is a design choice, and it's like, but dude,
it's
like
bad.
I'm just trying to play an action game. Like you guys gotta not do that.
That was bad. Yeah. At some point, you should give like players that option for sure.
I've had Evil Within 2 on my like wish list for a long time because I heard it was way better. Like, did you ever look at it?
I did.
Was that true?
It is better, but Evil Within 1's not good, so anything is kind of better. A competent game is better than bad. So,
is it good though? Is there like good things? I don't want to get hyped on it like Titanfall 2, but no one is hyping this game.
I will definitely not hype it.
Oh, it's better. Yeah.
Evil Within has better ideas executed poorly. Evil Within 2 feels like a kind of standard video game.
Action game?
Yeah.
Okay. Huh. It just, if it has like some sort of pseudo surreal level design, or
it has a little bit of that, but there's a bunch of open world ish type spots where you're just kind of in like a weird town looking in houses with monsters around, and that's kind of like the boring standard video games part. But then every now and then you go to like an area and it's a set piece area, and that's more akin to what you probably would look for in those types of games.
I have this weird, like, halfway feeling of, like, I might have actually liked the 2008 Alone in the Dark. Like, I was playing it for achievements.
Okay.
But then I actually, like, just fell into playing it all. Like, and it's like, oh, no, this is a terrible game. It's like, I guess, but I kind of just liked wandering around this weird park and, like, finding dark ooze and, like, flashlight, whatever. Like, I kind of had an okay adventure.
The problem with that game is that whenever you have to do a thing, it just kind of feels janky in some way. Like, specifically, there's...
Yeah.
I can't remember if it's enemies or if you get, like, the ability to throw, like, throwing stars or something. I think there's enemies that, like, throw them at you down a hallway, and, like, just getting to where you can shoot them sucks. Like,
I'm sure there's awful stuff in it, but yeah. But I mean, I played Deadly Premonition and had a great time, and there's like janky combat in that. Like, so there's a horrible boss battle.
Like, the only thing, honestly, that's good about Deadly Premonition's gameplay part is kind of fucking terrible, but like it makes up for it in all the dumb charm
and personality. Yeah. I mean, I almost want to briefly comment on 2, because like I listened to your guys' Game of the Year podcast, and like I know it's like a pretty disappointing game in a lot of respects, but like
I didn't even.
I did play it. I played like I haven't like given up on it at all, but like I am in a weirdly positive place with it, because like the thing it did for me was make me want to make jambalaya, and I did, and it was really good.
Sure.
So like I have like a positive memory ball around it just because I had a really great meal because of it. So it's not really fair. Frame rate and everything. Oh yeah.
Well, I thought the frame rate was a joke until like I bought it sight unseen when it was coming out, and I thought that was a joke.
Yeah.
So I decided to look up a bit of video of it, and it was so like jaggy with how it moved that I was like, I actually won't be able to play this without getting motion sick, so I'm gonna just wait.
Like the open world stuff of just like, oh, there's like balloons around and animals, and it's just like, wow, this looks, and yeah, just like you gotta wait outside this bowling alley. But then I did like the bowling alley mini game, so I don't know, I'm in like a crossroads with it. I have not like thrown it aside or anything. It is just, it wasn't like the main game I was focusing on at the time.
I might just check it out when it's out on PC, because hopefully it'll actually
if they like fine. Fix it up. Yeah. Blessing in disguise. Maybe. Well, the blessing in disguise for me was this jambalaya situation. So yeah, it's great. I put baby corn in it. No one asked for that, but like I wanted it, and it was good.
And it was good.
So
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all. So there I love baby corn. More things should have.
I know. I kind of wanted an excuse to throw it in it. So anyway, and then well, briefly, since it's been a segment, I'm just gonna say the masterclass of the week is David Mamet, playwright and screenwriter guy. Just for a writing focused one, it's just got a nice, simple kind of outline that he thinks things through, and I actually like it, but I don't need to elaborate. He speaks well, and it's a pretty good one. So if you care who that is, there you go. Any David Mamet thoughts? The Edge.
None that
with Anthony Hopkins.
None that come to mind. The Edge is a movie I don't think a lot of people even think of, but I thought that was I saw that when I was like maybe too young to kind of understand the situation.
Yeah, but it's a bit of a weird, heavy situation for
it's stuck
like
in my
A
mind.
Channel's movie. Yeah, they fight a bear.
They do.
It's like kind of an okay movie.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. So David Mamet, writer of The Edge, lets you know how to write movies like that in his masterclass. So check that out. And that's all I had for this week. Sorry to all the Apex Legends fans out there, all the Titanfall heads. I just didn't get it. I'm just an idiot. So I'm wrong.
I mean, you just have a different opinion. It's fine.
Yeah.
We don't have to go with
Destiny,
I'm an idiot.
Destiny 2. I like Destiny 2 more than Destiny 1. I don't know if that's even controversial.
That seems to be the way it just goes for everybody. Probably.
That said, I'm kind of done with both of those games. But whatever.
That's also seems to be the way most people think. So,
yeah.
what is next?
But if a third one came out,
I wonder.
I would buy that Slurpee cup. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
If they can do that. But anyway, so any final words for the episode 158?
Man, fuck BioWare. What's gonna happen with Bungie? They kind of can't do anything new now either.
Well, they don't have the Activision baggage, so they can do whatever they want. Let's be optimistic.
They also don't have the money, though. The Activision money.
Yeah.
Who knows? I hope they...
They're going to finally make a Halo RTS that's, like, really good.
I was going to say, haven't they made Halo RTSs, but I don't know if the other ones were bad, so I guess so.
Halo Wars 3, maybe.
Never played them.
No. Yeah, I have a strategy guide, but I don't know why. Anyway.
Nice.
Yeah. But anyway, that's it. Thanks for sailing with Paul and Nathan on the good ship Pixel Response. See you next week.
Bye.
Toot toot.